Some numbers out. Slack and Deirdre Bosa has them for us. Hey, Dee.
Hey, Will, Slack shares are sinking in the after hours, down more than 10%, giving up all the gains that we saw today. Let me give you the numbers. Non-GAAP loss of 14 cents per share. Revenue, this was a bit of a beat. $145 million in revenue versus the $141.2 million expected. That's an increase of 58% year over year. Here is what may be hitting the stock, and that's guidance. While Q3 revenue guidance is coming in a little better than expected, the loss expected in Q3 is worse than the 7 cents the street was expecting. The company's saying to expect a loss of between 8 and 9 cents. Remember, investors really want to see this company become profitable. Revenue growth is slowing and losses are widening. I also want to give you some color, some of the numbers around paying users, especially key as the company is facing more competition from the likes of Microsoft Teams. Company saying that it ended the quarter with over 100,000 paid customers. That is up 37% year over year, saying it also has 720 paid customers that are greater than $100,000 in annual recurring revenue, which is up 75% year over year. So net, guys, it seems like they're making some progress in terms of paying customers. Is it enough? Maybe not. And also that guidance is really hitting the stock, down now 13% in the after hours. Back to you.
Dee, thank you very much. Josh, the revenue up 58%. Was that better than expected? Is that all you care about at this stage?
Yeah, because again, if you're buying this for the earnings, there were never going to be any this year. That was not what was happening. Like, that was not what the modeling was. However, to Deirdre's point, the stock's selling at 36 times sales. So they had to surprise bigger than they did. And so I think if you're like a trader and you bought this to trade, you're probably going to make a sale tomorrow. But I think if you're an investor and you say, all right, they have more people paying than what was expected. They have a huge opportunity in front of them. And the majority of potential customers are not standardized on Microsoft. It's now a Microsoft and Apple world, and I think Slack can really win there. So, like, for me, I'm probably a buyer now that it's got a two-handle. Adding's my position. I'm definitely down from where I originally owned it, but I could say the same thing about 20 different situations like this. I really feel this will be one of the faster-growing names in the enterprise software space, and I like it for that reason.
I wonder if there's a little bit of an enterprise software fatigue sweeping, or is it still the hottest place in the market?
I mean, I wouldn't say fatigue. I mean, I definitely feel like a lot of optimism is already built into the sector. For this one, I think it is really a matter of, you have to refine your expectation of what the real total addressable market is, not like the pie in the sky, the entirety of all workplace communication. Does that come down when on a 3-month basis, they're not really blowing you away with the revenue growth numbers? And Microsoft, meanwhile, is there with talking about their daily active users that are actually exceeding Slack right now. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Again, trade's really expensive. People really do think this is a viable product's going to grow for a very long period of time. You just have to modulate your expectation of how fast they get there.
There's, like, you think about other enterprise software and software as a service names, and this has been one of the best sectors in the market, which is why Slack got the benefit of the doubt coming out of the gates. They didn't even need an underwriter. They were able to do a direct listing. There was enough of a high-profile sheen to this company. But you look at, let's say, a company like Coupa, C-O-U-P is the ticker. This came out of the gates, had a disappointment, dropped to 55. It's now 150, had a huge day today. This is another example of a company, came public at a high valuation, kind of stuttered out of the gates. But the growth is so powerful in these types of names that ultimately they find their footing. So I do think that will happen with Slack. It'll actually be interesting to hear what the CEO has to say. I think he's going to be on Squawk tomorrow morning. So I will break my normal 2.5 hours of yoga, and I will sit and tune into that instead. And
but you always have it on in the background during the 2.5 hours of yoga anyway.
No. Things are very serene when I'm working out.
You're going to need extra yoga. It's Slack's down double digits.
By the way, this chart looks a lot like Dropbox.
You're going to walk home over the bridge, right?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.